Hey everybody, welcome to Foreign Friday. I just watched a movie called Beast, and I gotta say, it's a different beast than what I usually watch. Let's get into it. The first thing that I want to talk about are the
characters.
Because oh man, are they a doozy. The main character is literally described as Indian James Bond in here, and I don't know if that's the actual dialogue or just some fun subtitles, but if they're referring to modern day James, then it's pretty accurate. He kicks butt like one-man army and looks pretty cool while doing it. And when I say pretty cool, you bet your sweet cheeks I mean pretty cool. I mean, this man can mow down a bunch of people and blow up a building, and all he's worried about is fixing his hair. He takes the trope to the next level, and I'm all here for it. But the side characters are just a bunch of characters that also fit into a mold. You've got the jealous ex, the cute main girl, guy who talks big game but can't back it up, etc. All the actors completely embrace that, and the writing embraces it as well. The acceptance might make it easier to tolerate, but it doesn't make them very memorable. But although I'm not going to be thinking about these characters for days on end, and I'm not going to care if I ever see them again, within the film and within the moment itself, they made me laugh. They were some pretty good entertainment, and I actually liked them. I didn't hate them at all. They may have been annoying at times, but I never hated the characters, and I think that that's a big plus, because you can make a character really tropey, and in turn, extremely easy to hate, but they ended up avoiding that. Which brings me into my next point, the
Plot.
So does the plot break any new grounds? No. Not at all. The plot is something I've seen in a million different movies, and they take different aspects from it and they just shove it all together. The first scene is just a huge drawn out fight, like a guy just killing a bunch of people. Something you'd see within like John Wick or something, but a lot more goofy and a lot harder to take seriously here. And then they go to an emotional moment, and then that emotional moment doesn't lead to anything. They just go to a whole Die Hard like situation, and it just seems a little bit everywhere. It's fun. Don't get me wrong, I had a lot of fun watching it, but it didn't make a lot of sense, and I don't think they were going the serious route. I don't think they even cared if it made any logical sense, but it just kind of felt like we were watching a bunch of filler. Not Naruto filler, but filler. But using all the characters for comedy relief, not taking the serious scenes as serious as you could, works. Because all of them can make me laugh at any point. Even the dangerous ones, the ones that are a risk to somebody somewhere, have scenes where it's like, why? Why are they wearing that? Why do they look like that? Why are they acting like that? But the plot takes those characters and it makes sense. It puts them inside a world where stupid crap like this is actually normal, and that gives personality to not only the characters, but to the situations that the characters are in, and then the world that the situations are happening in. Because now you know that everybody's a little bit goofy, so instead of the thought of, oh heavens, whatever shall we do? All these people are going to get killed. It's more of, look at these people at risk of getting killed. How is the guy with the good hair going to swoop in and save them in some original or comedic way this time? Which I am aware will be hit or miss with a lot of people. But the last thing that I do feel like I need to talk about are the
computer graphics.
Look, I'm not going to say that this movie is filled with bad CGI that makes it an ugly looking mess, but it's not pretty at all times. There's some scenes where the CGI is so bad, I feel like it's like on purpose for a comedic effect or something, but there are other scenes, like one really drawn out one that goes on for minutes upon minutes, where it's just the whole screen is filled with bad CG, where it looks like a really bad video game cutscene from years ago. It kind of reminds me of a worse version of Moonfall's CG in the scene where they're on the car chase, if you know what I'm talking about, if you've seen the movie. Yeah, you got a pretty good idea. That's kind of what it reminded me of, and it did throw me off. It was the end. Like, there wasn't long left of the movie, so it wasn't like a big deal breaker for me, and it was leading to a gigantic joke, but it went on for so long, and it got so boring so fast that I thought I needed to talk about it, because it did lower how I felt about the movie by the end of it. It felt so unnecessary and so pointless, just for a joke that didn't even land. Now that I got that out of the way though, it's time to reach the
conclusion.
In the end, do I recommend this movie? Actually, I do. It was creative. There were some scenes in here where they just randomly break out into song and dance. There were some scenes in here where the action was actually really good and really entertaining. It was goofy, obviously, but it was entertaining. There was some stupid CGI in here, did ruin some things, but it didn't bog down the entire experience. The tropey characters lended well within the plot and the story itself, although the story was lacking. So I do recommend the movie, especially if you've watched other foreign movies before. But if you've never watched a foreign movie that is action-oriented, I actually think this is a good one to start with. It doesn't take anything seriously. So if you go in and you're like, ooh, this is going to be like super serious John Wick type stuff, you're going to be so disappointed. It's not even funny. But if you go in and you expect like a fun ride, you're going to have fun with it. So I recommend it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Have a good day.